Hello and welcome to another episode of Aman's Unfiltered. I'm your host, Amanpreet Kalra. Now, we all know that feeling of sitting down in a salon chair, getting ready for a fresh haircut or color, and suddenly we kind of find ourselves pouring out our deepest secrets and concern to our hairdressers. It's almost as if the person wielding the scissors is not just a stylist, but also becomes a confidant, a friend, and maybe sometimes a therapist. Now, this unique dynamic has sparked a controversial question. Is your hairdresser doubling as your therapist? In this episode, guys, I'm going to be diving into the fascinating world of salon confessions. Women out there are probably going to love this episode. So I'm going to be exploring the type of personal topics clients often discuss and examining the surprising depth of the relationships they build with their stylists. And today I have Rekha, who's the co-founder of Hair House by Rekha, a very talented hair color specialist. Trust me guys, I would know thanks to my blonde highlights. So let's welcome her to the show and find out what she has to say to the very unfiltered questions I have for her. All right. Hi, Rekha. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Are you excited to be on my show?
I'm very excited to be on your show.
Perfect. So I'm going to have a series of questions for you because some of them I've been dying to find out. And in certain situations, I've experienced this myself in a salon. So I've always wanted to know. So as you know, today's topic, we're talking about whether our hairdressers truly substituting that therapist. So, when I was younger, I always had friends go to a salon and they used to say like, oh, this is the place for hot new topics, and they would come out leaving, feeling good and feeling therapeutic. So in your point of view, in the modern day hair specialist, do you think any of it is true?
I do. I think it's very common for my clients to come in and have conversations with me about anything of the above that you could imagine, whether it's marital issues, job issues, coming out of the closet, financial issues, moving away from whatever country they've come here from. Yeah, literally anything.
Wow, so you, in layman's term, you could actually be replacing a therapist.
I am definitely not licensed to be a therapist.
Of course not. But
I'm a licensed hairdresser. I feel like I hear a lot of daily issues. And I feel like I am a support system for a lot of women who don't have that support system. And often that is because a lot of people move here for jobs.
right.
And the first people they meet are colleagues. And often you can't speak to colleagues about your personal life or even about your colleagues. So I become this soundboard. And once they vent, they're out the door and I don't really think about it again.
But I'm sure you have like repetitive clients.
Absolutely. And
Right.
I'm following stories. And I've been back in Bangkok now for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've got clients who I've been seeing for almost 5 years. And they've traveled with me from, when I was renting a chair at a salon to opening a little studio in my building to now having a full-blown salon. And I've been following stories, whether it be like love stories or pregnancy journeys or the lack of being able to not be a mother or finding out things about their family members. And I'm following journeys over 5 years. So some of the kids are now 5 years old who were just a baby bump.
Wow. So like when they tell you these stories, and I'm sure like it's a lot of them, right? Do you feel scared to advise them?
Very, very scared because you get so invested. I care so deeply for my clients. A lot of them have become like my friends, you know?
Okay.
Once they're out the door, I go back into professional mode and, you know, I'm seeing my next client. But when they're there have been times when I'm sitting and I'm tearing at the
Wow.
stories that I'm hearing because I am just shocked
And do you
at.
take this emotional minefield that you're feeling back home?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm so invested in them as people, and I think we forget sometimes that everyone has their own story,
Mm.
whatever it is. Everyone has their own journey, their own story, and their reactions are based on what they go through. So when you hear some of these stories, it's just you just empathize, sympathize, and I just want to give them a hug, you know?
But I'm sure there's certain conversations. Do you have that thing in your head where, oh my God, I don't want to listen to this anymore. Just stop talking.
Yes, of course that's happened. Absolutely.
So in those situations, what do you do? Do you charge more for what you're
Absolutely
doing? Or
not.
like,
No.
I'm going to hurry this process up?
I change the topic most
Right.
times, or I take it back to baseline
Mm.
and talk about sometimes why we shouldn't have that discussion. When it comes to politics or
Mm-hmm.
religion,
Mm-hmm.
I won't have those conversations.
Yeah, those can be extra sensitive
Yeah,
topics. Yeah.
sensitive one, and also often very opinion based, you know, and my opinion and my client's opinion may not align, and then it becomes very difficult.
Yeah,
I
you can
mean,
strike a wrong chord over there.
yeah, and I mean, we don't need to have those conversations because you're here for me to do your hair, not to educate me on certain wars that are going on in the world right now, you know, as an example. So,
Right. So we all know like doctors and lawyers, they have like this client patients, confidentiality. Do you have one too? Is that a code you have
absolutely.
to live by?
Do I have to? Probably. Do I? 1000%. I would
Mm-hmm.
never repeat anything that a client told me because I think that everything in life is built on trust, you know?
Right.
So some of these people that come and talk to me, they're letting out their entire heart.
Mm.
And I just think it's not really like it's in bad taste to reshare.
Absolutely.
I don't do that in my personal life either. You know, I don't like
Okay.
to repeat stories that I hear or talk about other people in general, you know? So I think once you make that your practice,
Mm-hmm.
it it makes you a happier person.
Don't you ever itch to tell somebody, like it could be your sister or your best friend, about any gossip that you've heard about anyone, could be in the society or the community? Do you always have that feeling, oh my God, I need to tell somebody about this or I'm going to die inside?
No, not at all. Because it's not my story to share.
Right.
So more of what I think because I'm such an empath is like, shit, I hope she's feeling okay. Shit, I hope the situation plays out well for her.
Mm.
Because usually it's a woman, you know.
Do you have men
I
as your
do have,
clients?
not for myself, my stylists that work in the salon have male clients, but I typically don't have
And
male
are they quite
clients.
talkative compared to women?
Not really, actually. It's more of a scrolling on the phone
Okay,
and
so it's a more women thing that we talk a
yeah,
lot.
let your heart out, feel your feelings. I mean, I do the same with my clients. Sometimes I'm like, man, I had a shitty day yesterday. Guess what I did?
Funny enough, because I was in your salon chair a few days ago, right, getting my roots done, and you had clients over there, and sometimes it's a closed environment where you do hear what they're talking about. Do you ever get scared that if one of your clients hears your conversation that you're having with a client, are they going to take it out? Have you ever like gone up to a client and tell them like, hey, whatever that we're talking about here needs to stay here? Are you always in fear of that? Or are
Mm,
you very careful of the people who come in and, you kind of filter? your conversations?
I filter what I say, but if my clients are happy to come in and have anyone else hear what they're saying, that's up to them. But for myself, I have to keep it professional. It is my business at the end of the day.
Right.
It's a lot of the women that have been coming to me have become my friends over a short term or over a long term, you know?
Right.
So it's sometimes when you meet people and you just click with them, right? And I might be having, I guess I've been making it seem like I'm having these deep emotional talks, but actually sometimes I'm just laughing for the entire 3 hours because I'm hearing the most ridiculous things as well, whether it's the crazy job interview that someone had or the funniest date that someone's been on. And, it's just, I'm just laughing for hours, but I have to remember, it's a constant reminder for myself, Rekha, professional, like,
Right.
you're a professional.
For the sake of this conversation, is there any topic or any conversation you don't mind sharing with me and the listeners that's like either really super funny or maybe super controversial?
Um, oh, that's a funny one. I can't even think of stories.
Oh my God, you hear them every day. I'm sure you have
All
one
day,
that you
every
can
day I
share.
hear them. No, that's not fair to my clients.
I was hoping she wouldn't say that, but yes, thank you. So I know when I have a problem, I can come to you. I don't have to spend hundreds of dollars with a therapist.
Yes, that's right.
Perfect. And speaking of therapists, like, have you ever come to a situation where a client is talking something so deep that you inside know that this person needs to talk to somebody professional? Have you ever advised your clients to be like, hey, I think you need to see a professional?
Never. I've never gone through that. I think the women that come to see me, because my demographic of clients is expat women, I think in our subculture, going to therapy is very taboo or becoming less, but it's a very open conversation in the expat community.
Yeah.
I was speaking to my therapist the other day, or I'm thinking about seeing a therapist. It's very normalized, and so it should be. So I've never had to say to anyone, have you thought about speaking to someone professionally that is not myself?
Wow.
But
Okay.
I hope that, people would, if they felt the need to reach out to someone. And sometimes it's just a venting situation, after like a breakup, like I want to chop my hair, Rekha, and I want to
Yeah.
go pink.
Fresh start.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
happens. That happens a lot. I mean, we've all gone through breakups, and we've all
Oh my
been like,
God,
I'm gonna
like-
chop my hair and go blonder.
The first thing I do when I'm stressed is I cut my hair.
Yeah.
And-
But it's really healthy too to like get out the old shit. And
But it releases a lot of emotions and
Yeah.
stress
Yeah.
without realizing it.
yeah.
Automatically, you do feel a lot lighter.
I don't know what people with really short hair do. They're like, I'm gonna get a haircut. It looks exactly the same.
And yeah, so do you have people like besides your friends group, like our age? Do you have like those, let's just label them because we always label them aunties. Do you have that generation come to you?
I do have quite a few that come to me, and they're not as regular with getting their hair done, I think, the older generation in our community, or even if not in our community, the aunties,
Yeah.
yes, I do have them come to me.
I wonder what conversation would it be with them?
Sometimes it goes to,
Oh my God, my daughter-in-law. Oh my God, my son did this. And
sometimes I have to change the subject about the conversation because actually I don't want to know,
Yeah.
And my life philosophies are, there are three sides to every story. There's one side, other side, and the truth, that I believe
Absolutely.
in any situation. And my other life philosophy is like, just be kind. Always, always be the best version of yourself and always be kind. So I feel when I hear certain stories, in my mind, I say, this is their version, and they're hurting right now, and that's why they just need to vent. But sometimes I also wonder when it's people in our community, why they're even trusting me with this, because oftentimes it's
Yeah.
the Reka, please don't tell anyone, if this gets out. And my response is always like, I would never tell anyone.
But I think for them to say something to you so like dear to them, I'm sure there is a certain amount of trust level that they have with you. If not, they're not going to like spill all their
Yeah, of
dirt
course.
out or,
Of
emotions
course.
out to you.
Yeah.
So I would say kudos to you for building that trust to people that they can come up to you and say this.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really hard. I mean, even for myself, I'm a person. I don't go to a hairdresser and do that.
I wouldn't
Um,
expect you to.
yeah, I go to my girlfriends or my sister and I'm like, dude, this is my day to day. This is what I did. This is what I said. And I don't feel the need to say, like, there's a code here, don't repeat it, because those are
Yeah.
my people. But I I can't imagine what it's like to just tell someone so much and hope for the best, especially in
Yeah.
our community, because we all know that it's things spread, things are said, whether they're true or not,
Yeah.
and it's taking everything with a grain of salt. But it's common that we hear in our circles, did you hear this about so and so?
Mm-hmm.
And I hate those. I hate those
Yeah.
stories because it's unfair and things have been said about myself, and a lot of them are really untrue. And I'm sure you can relate, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
My
and
God.
they're just quite ridiculous when you hear
Yeah.
about it, but it's more hurtful because oftentimes it's said in our own age group. You're happy to have lunch with me at a table, but you're also happy to say certain things.
Behind my back.
Yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
understand this lifestyle, like mentality. I
Well,
don't know what you call it, but I think we have to remember that everyone has good intentions. Like no one is out there to just like hurt people. So,
but what if they are? That's just their intentions. Like it's a very deep rooted thing, right? Either you're very insecure about yourself or you're in a place where you're supposed to be happy but you're not, and then you see all these other people around you achieve a certain amount of stuff or their content and stuff, and then I believe that's where the root stunting of gossip comes about, or
absolutely.
rumors.
Absolutely. I don't have time or energy to partake in that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very grateful for the life that I have. I
Right.
mean, I work hard. I've
Absolutely.
lived in different places. I meet people all day, every day, and hear the most incredible stories, whether they're happy, sad, inspiring. A lot of them are super inspiring because it's a lot of career women who have lived across the world as well, and they have super cool jobs. And I like to find inspiration, and I like to find ways that I can build as a person, because I
Mm.
think that's what life is about, right?
Yeah.
Progressing and like bringing people up with you. I don't believe in like pushing people down. I don't understand that. So I don't want to. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt and say that they don't have the bad intentions
That's
when they are saying ill things about one another. I can't say that I wasn't affected when I heard
Mhm.
things about myself, and I've heard countless things about myself, from my friends who have heard from other people. Reka, heard this about you, heard that about you. And it's painful because I was like,
Yeah.
wow, why are these people saying these things about me that are completely untrue?
It's funny that you're saying this because now you are the second person on my show that is saying this. Because I think it was last week or a few weeks ago, I released this episode where are people truly happy of your success? And the person I interviewed said the same things along your line because I asked him that, within our close knit community, do you think people are really happy of your success? And, in that episode, I also mentioned about how people badmouth you when you're successful. And, it can start from a simple term like they could be jealous of you or they're insecure and they're not okay seeing another individual as successful as they should be.
Yes, I agree. I also think in our community, and I'm only saying this because most of my clients are not in our community, so
Mm-hmm.
I think I see both sides. I think it's really common because we have such a close-knit community and everyone knows everyone for the most part. A lot of the measures are against each other, you know? A
Yeah.
lot of people are in the same industries.
Yeah.
So this person's doing better in business than I am, and we're doing the same thing. A lot of these are family-run businesses. So I think that kind of filters down to the next gen, the next gen, the next gen. We're
Yeah.
probably 4 generations down now,
Yeah.
some families. But I think there's power in thinking that it's not a weakness, it should be a strength. Like, I want to do better, so how can I do better? Not to tear someone else down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So coming back to our original topic,
Yes, hairdressing.
how did your family or, the elders in your family react when you said like, hey, I want to be a hairstylist?
So that's a funny one. So I was going to enroll in an MBA course in
Yeah.
Australia, and I've always been a little bit of a business brain,
Yep.
and I was meant to enroll, and I had 3 weeks to do the paperwork, and my parents were asking me, have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? And at the time I was an event coordinator for a company. And every day I would say, oh, today I finished work late. I didn't get to the university on time. And my sister asked me one day, Rekha, why are you doing this MBA? You have a good job. It's not going to change much of your career in Australia, or even if I came here. Why do you want to do this? You've always wanted to be a hairdresser. Why don't you do it? And I just kept saying, I'm too old. No one would hire me. I don't know. I can't do it. And I had every doubt in my mind. But I've been talking about hairdressing from the age of 5.
Wow.
And it's been like my life dream. So I had
So
3
you
glasses of wine.
manifested it.
I manifested it, but I also worked on it. And the
Yeah.
hairdresser that I used to see in Australia, I used to tell her for 10 years. She was the person I used to go to as my hairdresser
Amazing.
therapist, I
Right.
used to say to her, I really want to do this course. This is what I'm studying now, or this is the job I have now. She saw me from like this newbie in Melbourne to having a career. And one day I had 3 glasses of wine. My parents called me and they were like, did you go to the university today? Did you enroll? I'm like, so I think I'm going to be a hairdresser. And they were not angry. They were not happy. They were surprised because they said, Rekha, yesterday you want to do your MBA.
You were in a master's and now you want to do hair.
What? And I never really took it super seriously because I did go to business school and I did work in the corporate world for so long, but something told me I can do this. So my parents were just stunned and they were like, why didn't you do it before?
Right.
What makes you think that now is the time?
How old were you when you told?
I was 29.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I called the school, I found out all the information, and, my parents were just like, I don't know if this is the right decision. I said, I'm going to do it. I'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
And I figured out a way. I worked a few days a week and went to school a few days a week so I could balance everything. Yeah. And after a couple of months, my parents were like, wow, you're really serious about this. How can we help you?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So my parents have always been supportive of me as a person. Growing up, I never really cared about academics. I still don't. So that's why they were really surprised as well that you wouldn't do an MBA. But they were supportive of that because...
Why did you want to do an MBA?
Because I thought that was like the next step of career for me, to sell myself to a company. It's more look at my education because that's how we were raised, thinking like your education is going to get you a good job.
Yeah.
I already had a really good job. And in Australia, having an MBA doesn't really benefit you. It doesn't hurt you. But, at that time, I was still an international student.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point of paying 40 grand a year or whatever the cost was? Don't remember. But what's the point of that? Like, I already am at a good place in my career to grow. More companies ask about your job experience and your career plans, future plans. I think I just thought that it was like self-pressure, I need to prove something. But
Right.
I absolutely do not need to prove anything
I
and
don't think you
didn't.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did it. Okay, why did you choose to open a salon here in Bangkok and not in Melbourne? Like, do I feel like there's so much competition here in Thailand, in
I feel the
Bangkok
opposite.
itself? Really?
Well, here I'm an Australian hairdresser where the other hairdressers aren't really. The law in Thailand, to be a hairdresser, you have to be Thai. It's a protected industry.
Okay.
So I have kind of the best of both. I am a Thai hairdresser by law. I'm an Australian hairdresser by practice
Mm-hmm.
and by experience. And English is my first language. So I somehow it kind of fell into place that, the expats started coming to me because I understood the Australian way of doing things or the Western way of doing things.
Yeah.
And I very much understand blonde hair because I worked for a very, very, very big salon in Melbourne that
Mm-hmm.
specialized in blonde hair.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel
That
like
is the total opposite. I would think like there's so many salons over here, but
there are there too.
yeah.
But over there, I'm just another Australian hairdresser. Also, running a business has been something that I've always wanted to do. I watched
Yeah.
my father, my grandfather, and I used to have like toy briefcases, rather than I used to buy dolls just to play with their hair, but I used to have like toy briefcases and call myself the boss. And
That's
I just wanted to be a business owner. I was like, I just want to be a boss bitch.
okay. I'm gonna ask you again. Okay, I'm going to give you one more chance to spill the beans on any fun conversation you might have had that you want to share.
I don't want to share.
Okay, well, there you guys have it. We're not sharing. My last question for you. Are people still gonna come to you after this episode?
I hope so. Guys, I do good hair.
No, I agree. I am an example and I love my hair. I've never loved my highlights until I came to get them done from you.
I
So
love
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Anything else you want to share? Anything you want to say to our listeners?
Just be kind, everybody.
Okay. Well, there you guys have it, folks. That was Rekha. And I'm going to catch you guys again next week.